Josh Allen will undoubtedly go down as a future Hall of Famer and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. His one defect is he can't win a game in overtime. I'm sure we've all seen the memes by now, but at the same time, it is warranted. Josh Allen now has the most overtime losses without a win by a starting quarterback in NFL history. He's 0-7 overall, and 3 of those 7 came in the playoffs, which is the part that keeps Bills fans up at night. After 9 years of almost, the Bills finally pulled the plug on the Sean McDermott era. This era will be remembered for its clinical efficiency in the regular season and its heartbreak in the postseason. Since the start of 2020, Buffalo has outscored their opponents by a staggering 902 points. For context, the Ravens sit in second place at 581. That means that the distance between the Bills and the next best team over the past 6 years is 321 total points. It is statistically the most dominant run in NFL history to not result in a Super Bowl appearance. This leads us to our topic today. How the hell is Josh Allen still 0-7 in overtimes? We're going to look at all 7 games. We'll assign blame, we'll look at coaching, and finally answer the question, is this just the worst bad luck in NFL history, or is Josh Allen himself a common denominator? It took almost a full 2 years into Allen's career to encounter his first overtime game, which makes the 0-7 stat even crazier because none of his overtime losses occurred in 2018 or 2019 when Allen was at his worst. The first came technically during the 2019 season, but January 4th of 2020, a battle between two 10-6 teams led by young up-and-coming quarterbacks who met in the wildcard round at Houston. To be honest, the Bills should have won this game in regulation, considering they had a 16-point lead midway through the third quarter, but I digress. This game also gave us one of the dumbest and hilarious lateral attempts I've ever seen on an NFL field given the circumstances. This game really had everything. The Texans had the ball first in overtime but had to punt after a dropped 3rd and 3 pass. Allen and the Bills got the ball in a next point wins situation. Dawson Knox made a man miss to convert a crucial 3rd and 12, putting Buffalo in the driver's seat to win. Allen converted another 3rd and long on a risky yet great throw to Devin Singletary. The reason this drive was not converted into points and ultimately winning the game can be blamed on multiple parties. First is Allen, because you have to make this throw on 2nd and 9 to Cole Beasley, but instead he dirts it. The other party at fault was Cody Ford, who inexplicably had an illegal blindside block when he probably didn't even need to. The 3rd and 24 fell incomplete, and the Bills offense never saw the ball again thanks to some Deshaun Watson magic before all of his magic got rubbed away. To sum up loss 1, you can't put it all on Allen, but at the same time you do need to make that throw on 2nd and 9, and it probably changes the trajectory of the whole drive by putting you in 4-down territory. But hey, at least the Texans took advantage and stomped the Chiefs the following week. Their next opportunity came almost 2 years later, on December 12th, 2021, when Allen looked to take down the defending champion Buccaneers on the road. After a 24-3 deficit at halftime, the thought of overtime seemed far-fetched, but the Bills, to their credit, were able to crawl back and tie the game with 22 seconds remaining. Buffalo got the ball first to start off overtime, so a touchdown would send them home with a victory before Tom Brady could even get his hands on the football. A 3rd and 4 curl to Diggs in tight coverage went over the receiver's head, and Buffalo was forced to punt after just 3 plays. But the culprit in this overtime game was the 2nd down throw. Sure, it goes down as a completion that picks up 3 yards, but this is an example of why box score watching could never compare to the eye test. While this 2nd and 7 throw to the flat wasn't wildly inaccurate or anything like that, it made receiver Cole Beasley leave his feet and head towards the boundary. A better throw placed from his knees to his chest almost certainly gives them a 1st down, or at worst a 3rd and 1. Instead, the few extra yards costed them and forced them to punt back to Tampa, which led to a Brashad Perriman walk-off touchdown? Of all people, wow. To be fair, Allen played great and became the 4th player in NFL history to throw for over 300 yards and rush for over 100 yards in the same game. But with the margin for error being so slim against an elite Tampa team, the ball placement on that one throw to Beasley could have been the thing that costed them the win in the end. Next up, the mother of all overtime losses. One that sparked debate for months and eventually led to a rule change referred to as the Josh Allen rule. rule. There's a lot to unpack with this one, so let's just get right into it. It may have been the AFC divisional round, but there was widespread belief that the winner of this game would have the best chance to win the Super Bowl in a few weeks, so the stakes were enormous. Ironically, neither team went to the Super Bowl. This game went into the final 2-minute warning at a modest score of 26-21, but in the span of a minute and 54 seconds, 25 more points would be scored. This matchup even getting to overtime was a miracle in itself and malpractice by the Bills coaching staff, allowing Kansas City's offense to go 44 yards on 2 plays in 10 seconds, leaving the game tied after regulation. In this famous example, we know Allen didn't even get a chance to touch the field for a single play in overtime. So it's impossible to blame anyone on the Bills offense specifically for losing this game in overtime. This improbable end to the Bills season saw the NFL change their overtime format, which had stood for 11 years to that point. Due to the outcry and lack of fairness to determine a season based on a coin toss, the NFL implemented a rule immediately, saying that in playoff games, both teams must be able to possess the ball in overtime. It may be dubbed the Josh Allen rule, but truthfully, it's better for the game this way. It sucks that he had to be the example, but it had to be somebody eventually. In the moment, I could not believe the Bills didn't force a kickoff return to shave more time off the clock, and rewatching it years later still leaves me in disbelief that a professional football team went through with that plan. So yes, this one is on the coaches.
This was the coach's fault! This was not one of y'all fault! Y'all did the right thing all day, every day!
Our fourth act takes us to the middle of the following season in 2022, when Buffalo hosted the 7-1 Vikings. When the Bills went up 3 possessions in the late third quarter, most people would have assumed this one was over. It took an 81-yard run, the best catch we may have seen in a decade, and one of the more improbable defensive touchdowns you'll ever see, but this game did eventually get to overtime. Minnesota received the football first and got all the way down to the 2-yard line. At this point, it looked like we were going to have an exact repeat of the Kansas City game from last year's playoffs. Bills lose the toss and Allen doesn't get to touch the field in overtime. However, Ed Oliver and the defense of Buffalo came up with a big goal line stand, which sent the offense back on the field, only trailing by 3 points. A determined Josh Allen scrambled for 38 combined yards on the first 2 plays, already cementing Buffalo in field goal range. 2 plays later, Allen delivered a great back shoulder pass to Dawson Knox, which would have won them the game, but Duke Shelley made a tremendous play batting it incomplete. On 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line, Allen tried pushing the envelope yet again, but this time pushed it too far. He rifled the pass over the middle to Gabe Davis, but delivered it well behind his intended receiver into the hands of Patrick Peterson for a game-sealing interception. Allen took responsibility, saying bad ball, bad decision, and it really felt like he handed the Vikings defense a gift because they were reeling on that drive. I've given Josh some leeway in terms of blame thus far, but this one is solely on him. A fumbled snap in his own end zone that sent the game to overtime, and the final pass to Davis were just too big of mistakes to overcome. Number 5 takes us to the Aaron Rodgers Thunderstruck game, where this famous meme was born. A second half comeback and a Tyler Bass 50-yard doink got us here, and luckily the Bills won the toss in overtime to get the ball first. It wasn't the playoffs, but this was on a big stage. Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers' debut, Week 1, 9/11 anniversary, a packed house at MetLife Stadium, and a chance for Josh Allen to change the overtime narrative on national TV. Peep the graphic right as he took the field. They know what they were doing. Before the Buffalo offense can even run a play, there was a false start on right tackle Spencer Brown that pushed it back to a 1st and 15. Allen's first pass was one that probably would have picked up about 15 yards and got the first down, but Dawson Knox was unable to hold on as he fell to his knees. I wouldn't classify this as a drop, but it's one that your receiver ideally comes up with. A 2nd down draw play was run and the Jets were all over it. I'm not in love with that decision, but I understand the logic. 3rd and 12 was Allen floating to his left with Quinnen Williams bearing down and DJ Reed breaking up a pass for Stephon Diggs. Diggs had a chance to come up with this, but just like the throw to Knox, it was an extremely difficult grab and one that I would not really classify classify as a drop. But then you'll have the old heads saying, well, he's got 2 hands on it, gotta catch the football. But a Josh Allen fastball in tight coverage like that, not the easiest of catches. So Allen got 2 attempts in overtime, they fell incomplete, and the Bills were forced to punt to Zach Wilson and the Jets offense. Well, at least they thought. That was until Xavier Gibson returned the punt for 65 yards to the end zone and pulled off the shocking Week 1 upset over Buffalo. The refs definitely missed a tripping call on Chaz Surratt, but now it was written in stone. Josh Allen was now 0-5 in overtimes. I'm not really sure who to blame for this one. Spencer Brown's false start was really bad, but the 2 passes thrown by Allen were once again very difficult grabs and just better defense. I'd hate to say tip your cap to the Jets, but hey, you may have to. Overall, it was an inexcusable loss, and Allen's 4 turnovers played a massive part in that. By this point, the Josh Allen being 0-5 in overtime was getting some national attention. He passed David Carr for the most overtime losses without having a tie or a win, a record that, as we know today, has just kept growing in the wrong direction. Overtime game number 6 takes us about 2.5 months later in a game at Philadelphia. 2 heavyweights in the NFL trading haymakers for 60 minutes and ending up in overtime, thanks to Jake Elliott's unbelievable 59-yard field goal in wet conditions. Just like Week 1, the Bills won the toss and elected to receive first. And I will reiterate, this is still at a time where in the regular season, if the opening overtime drive ends in a touchdown, the game is over. So winning the coin toss still meant something. The first 2 plays went pretty poorly. James Cook gained 1 yard on first down, and a 2nd and 9 curl to Stephon Diggs was broken up, although they allowed Darius Slay to get pretty handsy on this play. On 3rd and 9 in a gotta have it situation, Allen stepped up and delivered a laser to Gabe Davis for a huge first down. After yet another 1-yard run, Allen delivered a great ball to Diggs on a comeback, but it was dropped. You couldn't have asked for a better ball, just a bad drop, or maybe even a better play by James Bradbury, who looked like he got his hand on it. So here we go again, back-to-back 3rd and 9s. Josh took the shotgun snap, immediately started running to his left, and found himself in a one-on-one with Hassan Reddick. Allen, as he tends to do, was able to get the edge rusher off balance thanks to a couple of fakes and took off for a 15-yard gain. The next first down from Philly's 45-yard line looked to be an RPO, but Trent Sherfield was not on the same page as Allen, and the ball was thrown incomplete as Sherfield was run blocking. 2nd and 10 was a quick screen to James Cook that picked up 4 yards, but Eagles linebacker Nicholas Morrow bailed them out of a 3rd and 6 with a very dumb roughing the passer penalty. Josh Allen haters will say it's a flop, but it was a penalty nonetheless. After a run of no gain and Allen having a 4-yard scramble to the left, the Bills were faced with another 3rd down. 3rd and 7, right on the brink of the red zone, and the Bills got exactly what they wanted. Cover 0, and Gabe Davis runs right past his man. The game should have ended right here. However, Gabe Davis, despite there being no safety, took his choice route to the corner. Allen rightfully assumed his receiver would break towards the middle or just keep running straight, but Davis wasn't there. The pass fell incomplete, and Buffalo had to settle for 3, with Tyler Bass making a clutch 40-yard field goal. Although they took the lead, it felt like a missed opportunity. The offense knew they should have ended the game right there and risked putting the ball back in Jalen Hurts' hands. And poor Gabe Davis, the cameras must have panned to him like 5 to 10 different times during the Eagles' ensuing drive. The Eagles' offense went 75 yards in just a little over 3 minutes, capped off by a Jalen Hurts 12-yard touchdown run to win the game. Another excruciating overtime loss for Buffalo. So who's to blame for this one? Well, it clearly comes down to the last incomplete pass, where Davis and Allen could not connect on a would-be game-winning touchdown. Davis had the outside leverage, so he took it to the corner, while Allen saw no safety and wanted Davis to just head towards the post or just keep running forward. Fingers could be pointed at either party, but it was another lack of execution in a crucial moment, something that has hindered the Bills for far too long. Last but certainly not least, we have the most recent overtime tragedy to strike Buffalo. 2026 divisional round against the number 1 seeded Broncos. Buffalo had to battle back from 13 down in the second half, and Matt Prater's big 50-yard field goal, in a revenge game mind you, was perfect, sending this game to the dreaded overtime period. Before even covering overtime, I must say, Josh Allen needs to be held accountable for missing this throw to Dawson Knox. Had this been completed, Buffalo probably gets 2 shots to win the game from inside the 5, 5, but I guess we'll never know. It took a whole 4 years for Josh Allen to finally experience the overtime rule change that was named after him, but it didn't matter this time because the Bills actually won the toss. Buffalo did elect to kick first, however, understanding that they would get the ball back and knowing how many points they would have needed to score if Denver did end up scoring. Denver's offense would end up getting 1 first down, but 2 uncharacteristic drops by Courtland Sutton gave Buffalo the ball back at the 8-yard line after a fantastic punt by Jeremy Crawshaw. This was Josh Allen's chance. The offense needed about 45 yards to get in Matt Prater's field goal range with an AFC Championship appearance on the line. First play, a 1-yard run. And there's that graphic again. You almost want to start playing scary music when this graphic pops up. On 2nd and 9, Allen was able to step up for a 4-yard scramble, but this play in itself could have ended the game. It's fair to say the officiating during this overtime period favored the home team, but this potential missed holding call on the Bills center Connor McGovern could have technically ended the game with a safety. Maybe it would have been ruled down at the 1-yard line, but the Bills caught a huge break here nonetheless. On 3rd and 5, the biggest play of the game to that point, Denver strangely only sent 2 pass rushers, which allowed Allen to scan the field forever and find his tight end Dalton Kincaid for a much needed first down. After a short run and a pass of no gain, Buffalo faced yet another 3rd down, this time needing 7 yards to convert. Last time the Broncos only sent 2 guys. This time they sent 6 guys after Allen, who wisely dumped it to his running back Ray Davis, who beat Alex Singleton to the edge, picking up another pivotal first down. After another run of no gain and a huge drop pass by Mecole Hardman, the Bills were faced with a 3rd and 10. Hardman not only ran the corner route with way too much depth, but it was also a catchable pass that would have put Buffalo inside of Matt Prater's makeable field goal distance. Another example of lack of execution when they needed it most. Anyway, this 3rd and 10 was not only the biggest play of the game, but probably the most controversial play of the 2025-26 NFL season. Denver brought heavy pressure yet again, and Allen lobbed a deep ball to Brandon Cooks, who had a step on his man. It looked as if Cooks came up with a great catch, putting Buffalo at the 21-yard line, which ultimately would have won them the game. As Cooks hit the ground though, the ball was ripped from his body and into the hands of Broncos cornerback Jaquan McMillan. On the field, it was ruled an interception, and after a lengthy review, the call on the field was upheld. Buffalo went from having the ball right outside of the red zone to losing the possession entirely and putting their season in jeopardy. The ensuing Broncos drive was highlighted by an RJ Harvey 24-yard catch and multiple flags on Buffalo's defense that would ultimately lose them the game. A 30-yard pass interference penalty followed by an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty put Will Lutz in position to drill a routine 23-yard field goal to send Denver to the AFC title game. It was a loss that saw the end of Sean McDermott, the coach who had been with Allen his entire career since he entered the NFL in 2018. Considering it was the playoffs and a weaker AFC bracket than usual, this will probably go down as the second most heartbreaking overtime loss in the Josh Allen era. After the game, Allen was at the podium in tears, taking accountability for his 4 turnovers, including the inexplicable fumble right before halftime that handed Denver 3 much-needed points. At the end of it all, his winless overtime drought is still the longest active and all-time streak for a quarterback in NFL history at 0-7. Per Ben Vollen on Twitter, these are Josh Allen's career stats in overtime periods. He's 11 of 26 passing for 85 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, an 18.9 passer rating, and he also added 60 rushing yards on 7 attempts. So yeah, Tim Tebow in this one throw alone has had a more successful overtime career than future Hall of Fame quarterback Josh Allen. That just feels so wrong. Now it's the not so fun part where I have to assign blame for why this happened. And I don't want to be that annoying guy who hand waves his way through this, so I'm giving precise percentages of blame here. Game 1 at Houston, I will give 15% of the blame to Allen for missing the throw to Cole Beasley on 2nd down, 60% to Cody Ford for the dumb penalty, and the rest of the 25% to the defense, who not only allowed a 3rd and 18 conversion to Duke Johnson over the middle, but had Deshaun Watson for a sure sack, but he somehow slipped his way out of it. Game 2 at Tampa Bay, I'm giving Allen 30% of the blame for not giving Cole Beasley a better ball near the sideline, and throwing an incomplete pass on 3rd down that that didn't look too catchable. The rest of the 70% goes to the defense and Leslie Frazier for allowing a simple crosser to go 58 yards to the house. Game 3 at Kansas City, Josh Allen did not see the field, so that's a 0% of the blame, but this game once again should have ended in regulation, so the coaches get 100%. Game 4 versus Minnesota. I want to give the defense more blame because they were Swiss cheese for most of that drive, but they did ultimately hold them to just 3 points. Therefore, we'll go 20% of the blame on the defense and 80% of the blame to Allen for forcing that ball to Gabe Davis that resulted in a game-losing interception. Game 5 at the New York Jets. I can't be too hard on Allen for this one. He tried forcing in some tough throws that could have been caught, so we'll split the pie in 4 ways. 10% of the blame on Allen, 15% on Dawson Knox, 10% on Stephon Diggs, and 65% on the special teams unit for allowing a walk-off touchdown. And of course, you can blame the refs for that missed call. Game 6 at Philadelphia. The defense is getting majority at 60% because you can't allow Philadelphia to respond with a touchdown after going up 3 points in overtime. 30% to Gabe Davis because he couldn't locate that pass that would have won them the game. And I'm only giving 10% to Josh Allen because there's still a tiny chance that miscommunication was on him, although I would disagree and put most of that on Davis. Game 7 at Denver. This one can go in a lot of directions, especially if you include the officiating, which I will not be doing. If we're talking about the entire game, Allen's share of the blame gets much higher. But just for the overtime period, I think Allen deserves just 5% of the blame. Mecole Hardman is getting 20% for that drop pass that would have put them in field goal range. Brandon Cooks is getting 20% because you cannot, under any circumstance, have that ball ripped away from you. At worst, it has to fall incomplete. 50% is going to the Bills defense, specifically Shaq Thompson for the missed tackle on Harvey, Joey Bosa for the roughing the passer, and Tre'Davious White for the game-losing pass interference. And the remaining 5%, you can give that to the refs or even just on bad luck, whichever one floats your boat. When you average out Allen's individual blame for these overtime losses per my numbers, which of course is subjective and just my opinion, he is 21.43% responsible for his 0-7 overtime record. Is there bad luck involved? Absolutely. Has his defense failed him? Yes, multiple times. Whether we want to admit it or not, luck is often a major factor, especially in overtime games where the outcome can change just based on one play. Think of Tom Brady's playoff career or even the David Tyree helmet catch. Singular plays that involve some degree of luck can change legacies. And so far for Josh Allen, his career has yet to catch a massive break, especially in big moments. Considering he's not even 30 years old, there's plenty of time for him to capture that magic moment. You would hate to see someone so gifted never reach the Super Bowl and end up like Dan Fouts or Phillip Rivers. Only time will tell if the narrative changes, but through his first 8 years, Allen's legacy will not be remembered for his postseason success or the ability to win in overtime. But on the bright side, there's still plenty of time to change the narrative. Just think of Matthew Stafford's career. He was not viewed as a winner or playoff performer until his age 33 season. Just 5 years later, he's now a Hall of Fame lock with big playoff moments, multiple overtime wins, and of course a Super Bowl. But hopefully for the Bills and their fans, Allen won't need a change of scenery to achieve those missing accolades. That'll do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I will talk to you guys next time.